Hi class, it's Miss Megan, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the Bing, the Bang, and the Bongo. And all this is an easy device to help you remember a little bit about the format for the 5-paragraph persuasive essay. We've talked a little bit about persuasive writing. We looked at some examples yesterday, but today I want to really dig in and look at the 5-paragraph essay format. Why? Well, it's one of the single most helpful formats for you for the standardized testing prompts. They will very often ask you for a 5-paragraph essay, so it's very important that you know how this is put together. But even more important is that once you learn how to put a 5-paragraph persuasive essay together, you can start changing that format and changing those rules to apply to shorter and longer pieces of persuasive writing to make your argument stronger. So, 5 paragraphs. I did say 5. I know that seems like a lot, but it's really, really easy once you get the format down. It's very clear, it's very simple, and you know exactly what you need in each paragraph. So let's go ahead and get started. An essay is just a group of paragraphs relating to one main idea, and we've talked about that. You guys have written some narrative essays already and done a great job. So this shouldn't be too tough for you. I have faith in you guys. You're gonna do wonderful. But the Bing, the Bang, and the Bongo is really just a method for organizing your thoughts. We've already talked about your arguments a little bit, and I've heard some fantastic ideas. So we just want to make sure that we have all the right information in the right place to make it easy for your reader. So we're going to look at a real essay using the Bing, the Bang, and the Bongo pattern. That guy in the picture there is Bing Crosby. I know you guys are probably a little too young to know who that is. I'm almost too young to know who that is. So that's why that guy is there. He's the Bing. We've got the Bang on the left and the Bongos on the right. Now, the introduction paragraph. Sometimes students have a hard time getting started with their writing. But it's easy as long as you remember what you need. So you have to have a hook, and think of this just like fishing. The hook drags in the fish. If you don't have it there, you can't catch it. If you just throw a line out in the water, there's nothing to grab the fish to be able to reel it in. So you have to have something that grabs your reader and keeps them from getting away. You want them to read your paper. Your argument is no good if you never get them to read it in the first place. Now, by a hook, I mean a lot of different things. You have some options. It can be a short story, which we call an anecdote, that shows why your argument is important. It can be a quote, maybe from an expert, or just one that you think is particularly interesting or eye-catching. Maybe it's by someone famous, someone who's an authority on the subject, like I said, an expert. It can be a question, something to get, just get them thinking. There are tons and tons of options for those, and we'll go into those more tomorrow. But just know you need a hook. And then the background information. Some topics, you won't need a lot of background. The example essay we're going to look at in just a second, it's a topic that most people are familiar with, so we don't need a ton of information. But if your topic is a little more obscure, which means maybe not as many people know about it, you're going to have to give us some background here so that we're all on the same page before we start talking about your argument. And then you're going to have your thesis statement. You may have heard this before. I hope you have. But thesis statements tend to trip up students, which is a shame because it really is a quick, easy way to organize your ideas and your reasons and your information. So I'm going to help you learn to write a very effective, very simple thesis statement while we're at it. And it's going to include the Bing, the Bang, and the Bongo. And I'm going to explain that here in just a second. So, an introduction paragraph. Here's an example, a very simple one. Is there anything better than a good holiday? From the scary Halloween to the crazy April Fool's Day, holidays are always an excuse to have fun. However, the 4th of July is my favorite holiday because there's always good food to eat, because we spend time with family, and especially because we watch colorful fireworks. Now, all of those things we just talked about, the hook, the background information, and the thesis statement, are all right here in this paragraph. That very first sentence, that's our hook. It's a question. Is there anything better than a good holiday? I don't know. Let me think about it. It goes ahead and it gets you wondering about the topic. Background information. Scary Halloween, crazy April Fool's Day. Holidays. We all know our holidays, so that we don't need a ton of information here. Just enough to get us thinking on the right track. What kind of holidays? Probably the big national ones. We know he's not talking about really obscure little holidays or, city specific or anything. We're talking about the big ones. And then that last sentence, that's our thesis statement. The 4th of July is my favorite holiday, which is what he's going to be convincing us. He wants us to believe that 4th of July is the best holiday because, and then he gives us our 3 reasons. And not just any 3 reasons. These should be your 3 absolute best reasons. Remember, we talked about you always do brainstorming. So you should have come up with way more than 3 reasons to believe your argument. You're just going through now, narrowing it down to the best 3 and writing about those. Whichever one you list first, which is the bang, is there in the red, that's going to be what your first body paragraph is about. The second, the bang, is going to be your second body paragraph. And the bongo, there in the green, is going to be your third body paragraph. Whatever order you have them in the thesis statement needs to be the order you have them in the paper. And we'll see that a little better in just a second. So now, that first body paragraph is going to come right after your thesis statement. We're going to go to the next line, hit enter, and then we're going to indent. Hit tab if you're on the computer, and start typing. You're going to restate the bang, your very first best reason. And then you're going to support it. You're going to have to give us some details, some evidence, some analysis. And then a link. And when I say link here, I really mean transition word. You're going to have to transition from your first body paragraph to your second one. Usually when we hear link, we kind of start thinking about websites. So just know this is not that kind of link. We're linking paragraphs together. So that very first paragraph, we start out with the bang. He reminds us that his first best reason is the food. He loves the food on 4th of July. Then he starts describing it. Spicy, sweet barbecued ribs or chicken, golden corn on the cob dripping with butter, creamy potato salad, and then juicy red watermelon. Now we believe him. We've been talking about the food. We've got an idea what he's talking about, and we're on board. But there at the end, he gives us our link. The 4th of July meal is fantastic. He's reminding us what we just talked about. And then, so is sharing it with family, which you'll remember was his second reason. If we look back here, we had the good food, and then we had spending time with family. And here we see, talking about the food, talking about the family. So when we're going into our second body paragraph, because that's where our link told us we were going, it's going to be exactly the same as the first, except we're going to focus on the bang instead of the bang. Make sure that you don't mix different things into the paragraphs. Let each one have its own body paragraph. Everybody wants to feel special. Kind of think of the bang, and the bongo as separate people. They all want to have their own space, and they all want to feel special for a little while. So give them all their own paragraph. So your paragraph 3, which is your second body paragraph, so don't get those confused. Third overall paragraph, but second body paragraph. You're going to talk about the bang. It's always fun when my family gets together on the 4th of July. Then he goes on and talks about which family members, what they do. Notice that he says afterwards we have a big picnic. That's probably where they're eating all of that food he just talked about. But notice that he doesn't go into detail about the food because he's already done that. Again, he's letting the bang have its own paragraph. Once we talk about it and give some evidence, we have our link. I love seeing my family, which is the bang, and I also love seeing fireworks, which is our bongo. Now, the third body paragraph will look a little bit different because we don't have another reason. The bongo's the last one, so we can't link to a fourth reason. We only picked our best 3. So even though we're going to talk about the bongo, then the supporting details, at the end there, we're just going to remind them what the bongo was. We're not going to try to go anywhere else. And you can see that here. Finally, I love to watch fireworks on the 4th of July. Then we get some really nice, really pretty descriptive writing about those fireworks. And we end with just a reminder that that's what we were talking about. Just reminding them of the bongo. And then we go to our conclusion paragraph. This one's tough for students sometimes because they're not sure what they need to say. They feel like they've already said everything. And you have. What you're really doing in the conclusion paragraph is you're summarizing your argument one more time. We haven't seen the bing since the very first body paragraph, so it's been a little bit. You're just reminding your readers that you had 3 phenomenal reasons. And the most important, to me at least, part of the conclusion paragraph is the advice to the reader or the call to action. I call this the get off your butt statement, because now you've given them 3 fantastic reasons to believe you, but you gotta tell them what you want them to do with it. Asking someone to donate to your favorite charity or to help do a project of some sort or whatever it is you may want them to do, that's great. But once you've got them convinced, if you don't tell them what to do after that and they have to go figure it out on their own, they're much less likely to act on the information you gave them. So, for instance, he says, in conclusion, eating good food, being with my family, and watching the fireworks make the 4th of July the best holiday ever. Okay, sure, I can believe that. So what? Now he says, in fact, it's never too early to start preparing for the 4th. Okay, that may be true, but, what am I doing with that? But he ends with, why don't you start making plans for your celebration today? That's what he wants me to do. He wants me to get up and go ahead and start planning for the 4th of July. This isn't the strongest call to action ever, but it's a nice solid one. He's telling me what he wants me to do. And even though 4th of July may be a good ways away, and for us it is, I can still start making plans. I could do that today. I really could. So he's giving me a clear direction. Another example would be if you wanted someone to donate to your charity, maybe this is the part where you tell them when the next event will be or how to contact them through their website or phone number. This would be the part where you tell them how to get in touch with whatever cause it is you're trying to convince them to support, or how to act on the knowledge that you've given them. So, there's that suggested action. Now we put it all together and we can see the colors really, really well here. That red, yellow, and green. And the thesis statement is followed up by red connecting to yellow, then yellow connecting to green, and then we show that red, yellow, and green one more time in the conclusion. It's just that simple. Just that quickly, we have an entire 5-paragraph essay completely finished. So don't be scared of the 5-paragraph persuasive essay, because remember, it's easy when you use the bing, the bang, and the bongo.